is going to win this one. Let's go.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is another huge match. Basically, this is looking like a very potential win and in. If you win this, you start to take a look at the standings, and you can maybe start drawing in. So huge match for both of these players. And yeah, we just saw Payne here on the feature match. Did some good work. Let's see if she can do it again.
Oopsie. Let's get those cards back in hand there. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. And Bushwhack went and found a land. I love that there's now a, I'm going to find a land or I'm going to beat you to death.
Yeah.
In one drop.
Yeah,
it's pretty great.
It is really strong for this deck because most of the time with Otters, you also need a lot of spells once you start comboing off. So it's a split card of being a land or, yeah, it starts clearing out some creatures pretty well in the early game against like Gruul or something where you got to control the battlefield.
And one thing I also love about Ray is how fast they play. I remember watching, I think it was like a secondary feature match at one of the last Pro Tours.
Yeah.
Her against Javier, and they were running short on time.
Yeah.
You would swear they were playing like the Blitz chess equivalent of Magic. It was so fast. I was like, I'm glad you guys know what's going on because I don't.
Yeah, Ray always knows their deck up and down, left and right, and is always playing some kind of combo deck that is very confusing to everyone else.
Yes.
And you're like, I don't know if I want to play this deck, and then they make it look so good.
Yeah.
And this is my favorite deck to play by far. I by no means know how to play it as well, and also it's just incredibly tough to sideboard with.
Yeah.
And Ray Zhang's sideboard is always shifting and always changing to adjust to the metagame. Like, for instance, Ray just has 3 Llanowar Elves in the sideboard.
Yeah.
I mean,
I've never seen Llanowar Elves on the sideboard before.
Exactly. You haven't even seen Llanowar Elves in the main in this deck. I did try it right away, and it just wasn't that good because it's not an Otter, rat or whatever. But there's got to be some matchups where it's needed.
Yeah, why bring in the Mana Dorks when you can just make your own with Enduring Vitality?
Exactly.
Thundertrap Trainer was rescued there by this Tyrant Big Enough. Elspeth Smite was attempting to take care of it on Payne's side of things, but it has returned. So let's see if we can start getting this combo going off. You'll have to explain it as soon as the key pieces are found.
Yeah, absolutely. The TLDR is Enduring Vitality, Valley Flood Caller, and just a bunch of Otters and Rats with your Song of Totentons, being able to add mana. Each spell untaps them. You get infinitely large creatures. You can bounce, and then when you tie the room together with this town ain't big enough and the Storm Chaser's talent.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, and Song of Totentons giving haste as well, so you just essentially pay a bunch of mana and get free creatures.
Yeah, and the nice thing is when you have Enduring Vitality, your Song of Totentons basically nets you -1 mana. That's it, because they have haste. They can just add mana. So when you have Enduring Vitality is the best card in the deck. So once you get that going, your deck just gets supercharged.
And now, how has this deck changed from about 3 or 4 weeks ago at this point now? It's actually a little longer than that because it was Storm Chaser's talent alongside this town at Big Enough. That's where I first saw that combo of cards from Team Sanctum of All.
Yeah, Team Sanctum of All brought this to the World Championship. Didn't have necessarily the greatest tournament there. There were still some decent finishes. But outside of that, the deck hasn't changed too much from then. We have basically the biggest change I'm noticing is you went from 2 Questing Druids to all 4 in the main deck to get some extra card advantage. And you took out some of the kind of one of the cute cards down to 1 Beanstalk as well. But for the most part, the main deck can't really adjust too much. It is just a combo deck that needs its core pieces.
I do see the Burst Lightning joining the fray there from Foundation, so that's pretty cool.
Yep, Burst Lightning, and I think it was kind of a question for me when we were at the World Championship is this deck going to adopt Llanowar Elf? And turns out it just wasn't good enough, at least for the main deck, but...
Yep.
So there's the Analyze Pollen here from Gray. This is always a really, really nice addition to what the domain decks have become now. Ever since the Analyze Pollens came in, I think the deck's got a lot more consistent and a lot better. And now Zur is ready to go for next turn, as long as there is a land, a black source, it looks like, to then animate the Overlord. But the thing is, when Gray does that, that's the turn where Ray's just like, okay, instead, I'll win the game. Is that cool? Okay. For what it's worth, I think this is a good matchup for Otters. But what isn't?
I don't know. We'll have to ask Ray.
It's an otter's world. We're just all living in it.
I'm cool with that. I, for one, welcome our otter overlords. Oh, they should fight the Avatar. Anyway. Alrighty, Thunder Trap Trainer. Gonna get in for a little tickle of damage.
Yep, just one here. And the kind of reason why I think this is a bit of a rough matchup for Domain is Domain has a lot of sorcery speed removal, and Ray can flash in the Valley Floodcaller at end step and then just win the very next turn where Sunfall doesn't really do anything.
Yeah.
Leyline Binding is excellent as it deals with Enduring Vitality straight away, but outside of that, not the best matchup for Gray.
Let's see, where are we going here? Bringing out the questing druid, who was on an adventure. Nope, deciding against that. Going for instead the Analyze the Pollen.
Yep, Analyze the Pollen, really good at, once again, being another one of these 1-mana green spells to get a land, so you can play a really low land count. You have 2 forests, 2 islands, 1 mountain as your basics, so that's one thing you always have to keep in mind is you only have 5 basics, so your Bushwhacks, your Analyze Pollens, you got to be wary of it. But for the most part, late game, Analyze Pollens go get you one of the combo pieces like Valley Floodcaller or Enduring Vitality, but it comes at a cost. You do have to usually exile this town ain't big enough from the yard, so you also have to have that on your mind. You have to have so many things on your mind when you're playing Team Marauders. It's a very tough deck to play.
You seem to be quite the fan of it, as you literally almost did jump out of your seat when they announced the the feature match.
I love it so much. It's so fun. It's Teamer Breach and Standard for anybody who loves that modern deck, so.
Right now, taking a pause, having a think, as Gray takes her turn. Up the beanstalk is going to hit the board here, and we're going to draw a couple cards. Let's see if we can get anything going here. Gray hasn't really seemingly done anything at this point.
Yep, looks like we didn't have land 5, basically a cavern to be able to Zur an Overlord. And now Ray has the ability of end step. This town ain't big enough. Can either bounce the 2 permanents on their side or can bounce one of Gray's permanents. But bouncing a Questing Druid and a Trainer is just so much value. So much value.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And we know Ray definitely likes value, so... Is there a response here from Gray? 3 mana available. What can she do to answer this?
Yeah, it feels bad, to just even kill one of these creatures, just because in general the creatures are so bad.
Yeah,
they really are. The creatures are not ideal. Looks like Ray did a bit of a head shake there, so they weren't necessarily happy with. That line. Maybe miscounted the domain.
Perhaps, yeah.
Yep. Still okay, though. Got the Questing Druid back.
Yep. Can still dig for more cards.
Yep. But, I mean, yeah, this deck's so hard to play that it's hard to play it perfectly, and if anyone does it, plays it perfectly, it's definitely Ray.
9 times out of 10, definitely.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
I would say 99 times out of 100.
Okay. Very good. Yeah, there are plenty of rounds of Magic here this weekend. We had 9 rounds yesterday. We saw the players sitting undefeated make some, pretty trivial errors in the end of it. But
we call those interesting plays.
Interesting plays, yes. It's, but we were chatting to them afterwards. They just had a good chuckle about it. It's like, I've never seen that happen before. That's the first time, and it was on camera. It's like, yep, it was pretty great. Anyway. Turn passes back now to Gray. She untaps. Where can she go from here? Has 5 lands. Would love to find some ramp or just a way to interact with the things that Ray's doing.
Yeah, and what Ray's play kind of screams to me, at least, is end step, Seek the Beast, and Valley Floodcaller. Otherwise, you would probably want a Questing Druid during your turn to be able to cast something else. So that's what I would assume we're going to set up. And, it is not out of the realm to then win the game the next turn with that sequence here from Ray.
Just got to hope the top of the deck plays nicely.
Okay. Nope, no Valley Floodcaller there is really unfortunate. but has the Storm Chaser's talent. So at any point, a nice slow thing to do is play the Storm Chaser's talent, level up, go get Analyze the Pollen, collect evidence, and then get a combo piece. That's always on the table. But right now, Zhang doesn't have any pressure coming their way from Gray. And so we're going to probably see Ray just go for as many value plays over and over and over again until Ray just naturally draws into some of the combo pieces or until there's a clock presented.
The longer the game goes, the more the advantage bar swings towards Ray Zhang. Analyze the Pollen in hand there, I spied.
Okay. So there is one of the combo pieces.
Mm-hmm.
And you really don't want to expose an Enduring Vitality until it's the turn you're tapping your otters and stuff for mana, as that's your most important thing to not get exiled. But if you're playing against a deck that has spot removal, like Go for the Throat or something, you get to jam that one out there because it, as an enchantment, you're like, yes, absolutely. So there's the Get Lost to deal with the Storm Chaser's talent. That just shows how amazing Storm Chaser's talent is in this matchup, or in this deck, I should say, that you're killing the enchantment that already gave you a creature because it's that important. So seeing what Gray wants to do here for a follow-up, looks like we still possibly don't have Zur mana. Okay, there is Zur mana. Cavern to be able to play Zur and then animate the Overlord or the Leyline is really excellent.
Oh, Day of Judgment. If there's a this turn is big enough, now is the best time for it to protect at least one of the creatures.
Yeah, be able to bring back the Druid or something. It looks like that is another This Town Ain't Big Enough.
Mm-hmm.
They're the second from the right, but just not worth it enough to just get back to Seek the Beast.
It seems like a very expensive Day of Judgment, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I mean, at this point, though, it's just Gray probably just has a bunch of removal in hand, and it's just like, well, I'm either going to do nothing this turn or cast a Day of Judgment. Because that's the thing is, Gray's deck is a control deck. It is a domain control deck, and it's a good control deck at dealing with creatures. It's not a good deck at dealing with combo. Control versus combo historically has favored combo decks.
Yeah. Combo just does way too much, goes over the top of everything. Now we're going to see Analyze the Pollen. And we're going to collect some evidence to go and find one of the combo pieces here. So can Ray Zhang do the thing? I want to see these otters do the thing, Corey. I want to see an infinitely big otter.
Yeah. Well, you'll mostly just hear Ray tell Gray, hey, you're dead and this is how. So we'll see exactly how it works. But the longer the game goes, the better Song of Totentons gets as well.
Yes.
Where that's just a good card. We've all lost to it in Limited 100 times.
Yep.
And you can just cast it, attack for 8, force a sweeper, get it back with Storm Chaser's talent, do it again, and it ends up being really awesome.
Okay. Ray is untapped. Can we find... I want to see it. I want to see it.
So there is the Valley Flood Caller face up there from Ray.
So, yeah, sweet. Cool.
So it will be getting flashed in, and we'll see what can be done about it. But here is
Burst Lightning. Cool.
Yeah, the good old Burst Lightning to deal with this Overlord. The only pressure that has been submitted to this battlefield in, the 10 turns we've played this game.
It has seemed like it's gone on for quite a while.
Yep.
So no more card draw there for Gray, courtesy of the Overlord of the Flood Pits. And... Ray now doing a pretty good job of keeping her opponent under control.
Yeah, just ultimate patience here from Ray.
Hey, Questing Druid, we're going to Seek the Beast, find a, hey howdy, Enduring Vitality, as well as Torch the Tower.
Okay, so the pieces are there. You're going to very much want to cast the Vitality. And one of the really cool things that we might see if Gray is not aware of this interaction, if there is like a Leyline Binding or something, you can Torch the Tower while sacrificing the Enduring Vitality to make it an enchantment.
Oh, yes, you can. That's cool, yeah. That is very sweet.
Because you can even target the Enduring Vitality.
You could.
Yep.
You don't want to exile it, though.
Huh?
with a.
Well,
a
you'd
deck.
sacrifice it. So,
Oh, sure,
yep,
sure,
yep,
yes,
yep,
yes.
yep.
Right, yeah. That is pretty cool.
So I mean, Gray can play around that by just, going to her turn, and then the torch is gone. But
Yes.
it is a really cool play that comes up often. Whenever I'm playing the Otter deck and I have the Enduring Vitality, not as a creature, but still on the battlefield, that's exactly where I want it to be.
Yeah. Well, here is said Vitality. So now all the creatures that Ray will possibly soon, very, very soon, will be able to tap for mana, which is an important part of the combo. And you can just see Ray now doing some quick maths.
Yeah, if I'm sitting across the table from Ray, I'm already going to be terrified.
Yeah.
And if they start doing math, I'm just like, oh no, please, be nice.
Math, not even once. All right, we're going for something here. It is going to be the Questing Druid. So that joins the battlefield, and Torch the Tower goes bye-bye.
Okay. Yep, so just drawing a card. This looks like a pretty solid time for Sunfall, and that could easily be one of the cards Gray has been holding on to here, as it hasn't been a good Sunfall turn until now. Regardless, if you're playing against this Otter deck, you see a face-up Valley Floodcaller, you see an Enduring Vitality, it's time to pick apart one of those creatures, or you're dead.
Yes. Very much so. That's 5 mana tap. That's a Sunfall on the stack. In response, Ray is going to bring back the critters, so they will be protected. Nothing dies. So it's 5 mana, do nothing, in essence.
Yeah, it is just the classic. This deck basically never runs out of steam.
Gets a card, though, at least.
Especially with the 4 Questing Druid version. I've seen a lot of 2 and 2 splits, but the Questing Druids look awesome.
Yeah,
they've looked, in this matchup for sure, they've looked excellent.
They've been very good. Even in the Gruul aggro deck, which, still sticks around and is very, very prominent here this weekend. We see another Up the Beanstalk now for Gray, and that was a very aggressive judge call from the floor. I heard that. But again, judges are there to help, so don't be afraid to call them. That person certainly was not, as we are exiling more things. Ooh.
Might be time to chill in the sauna.
Ah, yes.
Might be time to chill in the sauna, the old 5 mana, draw some extra cards, but also it is not impossible to win from this situation without having any otters on the battlefield. The only way to win from here is with the help of Song of Totentons, but something like Song of Totentons for everything but 3 mana, and then cast the Enduring Vitality so there's no window where you can Leyline Binding the Vitality and start adding some mana, then you can really start to do some stuff. But looks like we're just going to start with the Questing Druid, and I love this from Ray because they're not under any pressure. There's no point in trying to get risky.
I mean, look at this board right now. If you just tuned in, you would think that a cat has walked upon the table and smacked over this library,
Yeah.
There's just so much stuff everywhere. And both players are sitting at a healthy 20 and 22.
Yep. But absolutely, when you've been watching this whole game the whole time, it looks like, maybe you can look and see nothing's happened and be like, a lot's happened, and it's all in favor of Ray Zhang.
Yes.
They have just amassed so much value. We might even see an Offspring Otter here, which we don't see often, but there's the saunas, the Roaring Furnaces are usually cards you take out of Domain. The 2 mana version as a removal spell, great against aggressive decks. Pretty poor here, though. And the Sauna can just be Get Losted.
Yeah.
It can be Leyline Binding. So that's a card I take out at least, but I don't win as much as Ray Zhang with Otters, I'll tell you that. Have I told you recently I'm a Ray Zhang fan?
Yes.
Okay, I want to make sure and bring it up every game because, they're one of my favorite players.
I'm going to be keeping track now, okay?
Okay, please do.
Sweet. Yeah, if you've ever been online and lost in a spectacular fashion to combo for the sake of combo, CFT on MTG Online, then yes, this is Ray.
I only learned what that stood for pretty recently, and I'm like, that makes infinite sense.
Jason, you told me. I was like,
yes.
I appreciate that,
Definitely.
In Magic, everyone has to have their thing, you know, their shtick, and this is it. And as we see, finally, this is the first one we've seen this game, right? Storm Chaser's talent hits the board. We got an Otter. Was the second? It might be the second one.
Yep.
But it's here, and that's great, because this is part of the combo to get back our lovely This Town Ain't Big Enough and start doing some really, really dumb stuff.
Exactly. Now the combo is face up. There's the Valley Stormcaller. There's the Enduring Vitality. So, you know, there will probably even be a world where Ray probably won't flash in this Valley Floodcaller unless Gray taps out for like an Atraxa or something just to protect it, because, well, you can win through a removal spell. If you have enough instants or This Town Ain't Big Enough.
Yeah.
We could see next turn Ray goes Enduring Vitality, then Valley Floodcaller, or vice versa, whatever order they decide. And then let's say there's a removal spell from Gray. You can play an instant in response, untap, and start kind of going off with removal spells on the stack.
Overlord of the Mistmoors hits the board here for Gray. 2 cards off of Up the Beanstalk, and 2 little friends hit the board here as well. They're not going to do too well against an army of infinite otters, though, I feel.
Yeah, not much, but drawing 2 cards to find more removal. Right now, Gray is just like, I need to draw Leyline Bindings, and more Leyline Bindings just to be able to fight this combo, because, well, the mana advantage is just so severe with Ray Zhang's side of the battlefield that they can really do some nasty stuff. And this, if I'm the Otter deck right now, I'm like, yes, keep putting Overlords into play, please.
You're chittering with glee. I don't know, do otters chitter?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, they're cute. They do like little chatty things.
A lot of chittering. So now if there's just 2 white mana available, you know, and honestly, I'm not even sure there's a red land. We haven't seen an everywhere land. So this might only be 1 piece of interaction available, and Ray has that through this for sure.
Well,
okay. So now that's probably 2.
That's a Verge.
Yeah, I just don't see any red source at first glance, though. So I think that still means I think that still means there's only 1 piece of interaction available. So and flashing this in would immediately tell you, number 1, there might be another one.
Yep.
And number 2, you can always level up Storm Chaser's talent to analyze pollen to go get another one.
Yep.
So I think next turn will be the last turn of this game.
Yep. Lots and lots of redundancies and backups and insurance and everything you could possibly want here to protect what Ray's about to do next. So Gray just deciding, do I want to respond to this Valley Floodcaller?
Yeah. And there's a chance that killing the Valley Floodcaller, that's always the scariest card, that if you see it, you want to kill it. But there's some merit to dealing with the Storm Chaser's talent as well. Because getting back This Town Ain't Big Enough, that's the loop.
Yep.
You pay 4 mana, bring back This Town Ain't Big Enough, 2 mana to return a talent, one of your opponent's things.
Okay.
And you keep going. But I think either way, we probably got it.
Yep. Alrighty. Let's see. Tap, 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 tap.
So here's the Vitality. That will it's free because you have 3 otters in play right now. So it's a free spell. You almost always start with that.
Yeah, and because now we can cost sorceries at instant speed. Right? We don't have to do the Song of Totem Tons first, like you mentioned.
Exactly. Yep. All your sorceries are now instants. Really only matters for the Song of Totem Tons, but yeah, you can definitely combo here. But once both are in play, it's pretty much over. So this is the window for Gray. If I'm Gray and I have a Leyline Binding, I'm just going to shrug and I'm going to deal with the Valley Floodcaller, and I'm going to hope there's not another one. That's what I would do, and I would assume I'm losing this game from that perspective. Because otters are unbeatable.
One thing I will note, though, is this game has gone on quite long.
Yep.
We're 26 minutes left, and we haven't finished game 1 yet. So how concerning is that for this style of matchup, this style of deck?
You know, I think it's much more concerning for Gray. Oh, that is sick, too. Okay, so this could work. This could not work, you know, but it's just guessing. Do you have another Valley Floodcaller, or do you have another Storm Chaser's talent? And, you know, either or... It's just a guess, because there should be 2 of each in the deck.
Yep. Song? Yep.
So there's Song. That is going to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 rats into play. You're going to untap these otters. So now you have 8 mana with the rats, 9, 10, 11 mana available right now with the 3 otters as well. And every spell is boosting these things up here. So honestly, Ray only needs to cast like 3 spells and they got this game.
Okay.
And 1 Storm Chaser Talent's over because that's the loop.
Yeah. Rats.
And
So
now
that-
you get to train her to find 2 more spells. So
Yep.
unless this is a big whiff off 2 copies here,
Well, we're going to find out.
and you got to keep the modes separate. That's why this deck is kind of a nightmare to
Jeez.
play in person compared to online, because you got to keep the modes separate of which ones have haste and which ones don't.
Yeah.
You got to keep track of your spell count. You got to keep track of how many rats are tapped and are not tapped.
Hey, rather you guys than me. All right, my brain fried about 5 turns ago.
It honestly gets utterly ridiculous at some point.
Utterly ridiculous
Yeah,
indeed. I see
yeah.
what you did there. Bravo.
I'll be here all day.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay, there's a torch.
Ooh, okay.
So a torch on one of the creatures. A torch represents plus 11 damage, plus clears out a blocker. Another song is like another 20 damage. It's more than enough there.
Plenty.
And for that thought, for anyone's like, Gray, okay, you should have hit the Valley Flood Caller.
Yeah.
If you hit the Valley Flood Caller, you Storm Chaser's Talent for an Analyzed Pollen, and then you get it again. So honestly, I didn't think the decision mattered at all there, and Zhang just played masterfully, very, very patient, and just said, you're not doing anything, so I'm going to keep gaining value.
Yep.
You're not doing anything, more value, until, oops, I have all the combo pieces, you only have 1 interaction available, GG.
Yep. That is exactly what we saw there. So Ray doing what they do best and comboing off to a win there up against Payne. Both players playing exceptionally well. And while our players are sideboarding, we'll take a look at the sideboarding choices in a sec. We just want to say a big thank you to our sponsors for this weekend. Without you, these would not be possible. So whether you are wanting to trade your cards or wanting your trading cards sleeved or slabbed, our friends at Dragon Shield and Beckett have you covered. So big thank you to both of these legends for sponsoring SCGCon this year. And don't forget that you can order your Dragon Shield products right now on StarCityGames.com.
All right, and next up, if you want to be in the know for everything that happens here at Star City Games, the lovely company that we are representing here, they do some awesome stuff, have some great content. You can go see some Commander content as well. See some Commander versus. You can order foundations right now. You can check out when the next SCG cons are going to be available. And anytime you have any flash sales, these happen quite often, and I live in Roanoke where SCG is stationed out of. So when there is a flash sale, I take advantage of them because it's usually a solid deal. So if you're interested in that, go to starcitygames.com/newsletter to sign up and be in the know.
Hell yeah. Sideboard time. Let's take a look. Bonor Dracosaur. Talk about a limited beater. This card. Woo! It's rough.
That is a really good card. So we'll start here from Payne's side. For her, I think you want to bring in the Rest in Peace. Stopping that aspect is decent. The problem is like it doesn't completely shut down the combo, so it's not amazing, but there's going to be a lot of cards that she is going to want to take out.
Yep.
You can bring in Terrace Under to deal. Oh, man. I'm looking at this sideboard. It is not good for Gray. It does not get much better. Negate's okay as well. There's no slam dunk card.
Authority of Consuls?
Yeah, Authority of Consuls isn't that amazing
Gain
either.
infinite life for each thing that enters.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, even that game, sure, 27 rats came into play, but they were all 15/15s, and they were untapping with the Valley Flood Caller, so that's not a card I would bring in. I would just, cry a little and then bring in a negate, I guess. Maybe some Rest in Peace. This is not bad. Being able to deal with some enchantments. Terrace Under isn't bad. But nothing's a slam dunk. And that's the thing is, a lot of the advantage you get from playing this Temur Otter decks is, well, it's hard to sideboard, and it's hard to sideboard against.
Yeah.
Because you never really know what kind of tech there's going to be in the sideboard. I'll be very interested from Zhang, though, to see if the Llanowar Elves come in this matchup. If they're going to come in any matchup, I would think it's this. But it also could be a thing where Zhang just wants to break serve and always has them in on the draw. Yeah. I could see that being a thing as well. I might have to go ask them later.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, is it just the case of, all right, Ray wants to still be doing the thing they want to be doing.
Yeah.
So they have to just, like, leapfrog ahead and become, get the same amount of mana available, if not more, than what their opponents got.
And honestly, who knows? Because every Magic Online Challenge or something, which Zhang plays a lot of them, I look at the list every time, and Llanowar Elves wasn't really in any of them. So this must have been a new addition from Ray and Jason that they figured out here. So
yeah, I'm curious. Maybe we can send Nick Miller out there to go and get the scoop for us.
yeah, there we go. There we go. All right, so it looks like a mulligan there from Zhang. Not sure about Gray.
Yep, we're good to go. Lush Portico. Whatever that card is on top is going to stay in the bin. Island go.
No elf on turn 1.
Another Lush Portico here. Do we like this card now for Gray? Yep, that's going to stay. Turn passes back now to Ray. So both players just going to get set up here as best they can. And there is one of our combo pieces. It's our little friend, Thundertrap Trainer.
And that is another great aspect of playing 7 1-mana search for a land things instead of a lot of your lands, is your Thundertrap Trainers hit very consistently in this deck. Like, whenever it misses, you feel pretty unlucky. And that's another tough part of sideboarding. It's kind of like collected company decks. Like, you can't adjust your deck too much.
Yeah.
You can't take out too many spells, as you'll start missing with this card. And then, it's a 2-mana 1/2.
Yeah.
So it's pretty bad when you're not getting any value.
There are quite a few tutors, though, in the decks, like especially from the 1-drop green slot. Yeah. We got Bushwhack, you've got Analyze the Pollen. All of them help and just alleviate the pressure you might feel to put more lands in the deck. So.
Exactly, yep.
It could be a land. It could be a removal spell. It could even be a whole creature.
Exactly. I've kept so many 1-landers with this deck because you just have like 2 Analyzed Pollens and all your worries are over.
Well, look at the ramp we got here from Gray's side of things.
Okay.
2 Everywheres, 2 Overlords, one of which is already a big old beefy body.
Yeah, great start. Getting some pressure. I like what Gray's doing, is recognizing, you know what? I gave Ray all this time last time. It didn't go well.
No, it did not.
But now one thing we're going to see here is land, Enduring Vitality, and then you're up to 5 mana because you get to add mana from the trainer right away. So feels really nice when your Enduring Vitality essentially costs 2.
It's a mana race.
Yep.
Who's going to get more first?
The one thing, I guess that was a Botanical Sanctum, so it came into play tapped. So the one thing that would have been ideal is one of the most popular turn 3 plays like this is playing Enduring Vitality, having 2 mana up for this town ain't big enough, and then you just feel so protected.
Oh, yeah. Turn passes back now, though. Only 1 mana available for Ray. 3 mana tapped here, potentially, for Gray. Thinking about where she wants to go with this turn. Has 2 Overlord of the Hauntwoods, and now Overlord of the Flood Pits hits the board.
Okay. Decided to not hardcast that one, so that is definitely a choice.
Digging for some more interaction here, no doubt.
I like it because, if you hardcast that, you play a tap land, you have no interaction, you could be dead.
Yeah. Draw 2, discard, so good way to filter through the top of the deck here. Finds a land for turn. And do we have a piece of, we sure do, removal to get rid of the trainer.
Is the Torch of the Tower there? Yes! Here's that play. This is excellent. You're able to then sacrifice it because it is an enchantment.
It is.
Who cares if Torch the Tower didn't kill the Overlord? You get to keep your Enduring Vitality.
Yeah, that's not what it's for.
Yeah. Now Gray has to find another piece of removal for just that enchantment that's sitting around. Excellent play there from Ray.
Where's Zur? Zur would be great right now.
Yeah.
Just to start animating these guys and just smacking.
100%. Yeah, Zur next turn could animate both of them and win the game, you know? So that's Gray's combo aspect of this deck.
And again, how I like to remember bargain, you just gotta eat it. Enchantments, artifacts, and tokens.
Oh, that's good.
Things. Yeah.
That's good.
Just gotta eat whatever you wanna sacrifice or bargain away.
I feel like I have screwed up that bargain ability far too many times on coverage. I need to know that acronym. That's good.
Eat it. Eat it. Ooh, Storm Chaser's Talent. We got a little buddy.
Okay, doesn't look like this game is going to be won on this turn, as there's no Storm Chasers or no Flood Pit.
Valley
Valley Flood Caller. Yeah. Name escapes me there for a sec.
Too much flooding.
Exactly.
Just saying.
So now, if there's a Zur, this is huge for Gray. That's exactly what she would need here.
Yeah, because this Overlord of the Flood Pits flies.
Yep.
Oh, 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 hello. What is that?
So being able
Rebel
to deal...
Selva. Ooh, just gonna whack it.
Okay, perfect. So deal with that straight away. That keeps the clock nice and low. If Ray took 6 there from that Overlord and then another Overlord comes off impending afterwards, that would have been pretty tough because when you have to start chump blocking with these otters, you know, it just, the deck doesn't play from behind that well.
Yeah, it's just like putting your lands in the way there. Okay.
Yeah.
You would have been nice earlier, Mr. Up the Beanstalks, but, you know, gonna do what I can here now to help Gray stay in this matchup up against Ray Zhang, who has won the first game. A pretty lengthy first game as well. Sunfall on the stack, no response at all. Critter's gone. 2 counters on the incubate token should be.
Yep.
Nice.
Solid play, and now an Overlord is coming off, so now the pressure's back on Ray to be able to do something here.
This is looking a lot better for Gray.
Definitely.
Land, Cavern of Souls.
Has infinite mana, so kind of, and there's no real counter spells, so Cavern doesn't matter too much here. Is able to cast Zur or Atraxa or almost Progenesis, you know? Like
Let's not go that far. That's a silly card.
So
I like it.
Nothing in the graveyard that's that relevant for the Storm Chaser's talent yet. So, you know, Ray does need to find something else. I believe I saw a Thunder Trainer as well. So if we have another land, at least you could do that. If not, you're probably going to cast it now.
All right, so, yep, there it is. Thunder Trap Trainer hits the board. No Offspring this time. But we are going to go digging, looking for something useful on top of the library. Ugh. That's not what you want to see. Nope,
that's a whiff. Hand doesn't look very good. I see some red cards. Can't really make out the rest of Ray's hand, but not amazing.
It might be Rebel Selva or Bitter Reunion.
Okay, that is a Valley Flood Caller, so that is pretty good. Is able to play that at end step and hope it lives and then do something. But Gray's just been drawing a lot of cards, so it's looking pretty good for Gray so far.
Got the Phyrexian now. A Zur would be ideal in the situation.
Oh, yeah. This is the Zur waiting room for sure.
Yeah, 100%. Is it there? Will it join the fray and animate 3 attackers?
Yeah.
Another Rebel Selva. Okay. Second copy from the sideboard. So taking care of that one before any more mana or damage is dealt.
Affinity for equipments. Yeah. No equipments here.
No,
but,
it's just a 3 mana, I'm going to kill your thing.
Exactly. Still just kills Shieldred, kills the Overlords, ends up being a solid sideboard card. Is this Atraxa?
6, 7.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Herd Migration. Sure, cool. That's still a lot of guys. Oh, no, wait. Are we just... No, yeah.
Yeah, so...
Yeah. Okay, we are. We're getting five critters.
So this is the turn where Ray really has to more than likely go for it. The pressure is on. If you're chump blocking to stay alive here, you're in a ton of trouble. So if I was in Ray's shoes, I'm like, all right, I'm going to try to win the game right now. This might be a Song of Totem Taunts to start.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana.
Looks like GG. Scooping it up. Didn't have enough going on. And now the clock does come into play here.
It sure does.
And here's the thing. You know, this clock heavily favors Ray because, well, more than likely Gray is going to have a tough time closing out the game in this amount of time. We're going to shuffle up. That's going to be 3 minutes. We're going to be getting into the game around 8 minutes or so. So, you know, Gray can do the best job she can at preventing Ray from winning and getting a draw. But at this point, it looks like more like Gray's playing for a draw, and Ray can combo fast enough, win in turns on turn 5. And that's the same as, you know, winning with 20 minutes on the clock. You'd still get the W.
Yep. I think from Gray's side of things, she needs to find Zur. And just start animating big beefers and just going.
Yeah, that's exactly the draw. But at one point, you know, sure, you want to find Zur, you want to find an aggressive draw, but if you lean too much on the aggression and you don't deal with Ray's stuff enough, then all of a sudden you played too aggressive and you lose the game anyways.
Yeah.
So where this is a spot, a draw is not so bad. A draw is really not terrible here.
What are the implications then for top 8?
It gets tricky, especially for Gray. There's some world where if you draw again, you're essentially at 12 and 12 wins. Yeah, that's probably not great. It's still a little too early to tell.
A W would be a clean and much preferable thing for both players here, I think so.
I think a draw, there's a solid chance it could eliminate both. Or it would be they have to win the next round and hope their breakers are good.
Yeah.
And we didn't see a lot of Ray Zhang basically on the standings for a while, so that leads me to believe Ray started at maybe a lower record, got those 2 losses pretty early, so that would mean their breakers are worse.
I can tell you right now.
But we know Gray has been dominating, so her breakers have got to be great.
Gray's been crushing it. I will tell you right now. Yeah, so first round was a loss, and then 7th round was the other loss.
Okay. Yeah, losing round 1 really hurts at an event like this. Really, really hurts. All right, here we go. Finally, the ideal start for Ray. Hasn't had the turn 1 otter. That really supercharges. If you can, I mean, the best draw you can have from otters is turn 1 Storm Chaser, turn 2 Thunder Trainer, turn 3 Enduring Vitality, and then have a 2-mana spell. So that is kind of the best you can be doing.
Did Ray keep a 1-lander?
We're gonna find out.
No. Okay.
No, okay.
I was just like, yowza, Ray. That's okay.
Yep.
But we're putting the damage in here as best as these little otters can. Go in for 2. They do have prowess, which people tend to forget sometimes.
And this is a turn where there's nowhere near enough domain for a Leyline Binding, so if Ray did have Enduring Vitality, it would live till at least Gray's turn. So you get to consider that as an option.
So just in for another 2, down to 16 goes Gray. Tap 3, there is Enduring Vitality. So 6 mana available next turn, 7?
Yep. A solid 7 if there's a land drop. So if I'm Gray, I'd be like, I need to kill this Vitality. And if I'm Ray, I'm like, well, I want this Vitality to live and I'll be fine.
Overlord of the Hauntwoods. I think Ray's going to be doing some dumb stuff this turn, Corey.
Yeah, no matter what, this game could be over. Even worst case, I see the otter there, so you can at least just kick her or offspring that.
Yeah. It's just kick her anyway. You're
good. Basically.
Oh, boy. 2 mana. There is the Thundertrap Trainer. Gonna go digging.
Right. All this being said, if Ray doesn't win the game...
Big money, no whammy.
If Ray doesn't win the game on this turn, it looks like the juiciest Sunfall ever for Gray.
Ugh. That would be painful.
Yep.
Whiff again?
No, there was something.
Okay, there was something.
That's a Song of Totentons. So right now, you can Song of Totentons for 4 if you want, or you just get aggressive.
Yeah, okay.
Just getting aggressive.
Getting in there. What's that?
For 5.
1, 2, 3, 4. 5?
Yep, for 5 damage there. And maybe is holding up this town ain't big enough, because if there's a Sunfall and Ray has this town ain't big enough for Vitality and the Thunder Trainer, like, that's still really good for Ray. Or there could definitely be a negate if we have one in the sideboard, but no counter spells in this 75. And that makes sense to me. The counter spells are always lackluster, although it would have been great here.
Yep. Sunfall, in response, we'll see this town ain't big enough, no doubt, from Ray Zhang.
Yep. Or questing, Seek the Beast, but that wouldn't be ideal. There is 3 mana available with the other. There you go.
With questing Vitality. Is this town ain't big enough?
And then we'll see if they want to put Storm Chaser's talent into hand, or the Vitality and the Trainer.
That's a tough choice, isn't it?
It is tough, yeah. I could see a merit for all 3 of the targets.
Looks like one is going to be the Trainer, and the other will be...
I think I would go with the Vitality, too.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay, that had to be there for Gray, for sure.
Jeez. All right.
Now it could easily be a land Song of Totentons attack for 4, keep the pressure going.
Almost looks like we've sped this up, but nope. Ray is just playing that quickly as Enduring Vitality hits the board once again. No land.
Okay, this is back to Gray and looking pretty solid. If Gray has the ability to exile this Enduring Vitality, it can still be really tough for Ray to gain any kind of advantage. The Otter deck is extremely good, but if you keep answering the threats, as they get cast, it needs to snowball.
Yeah.
this deck is very good if you get to just leave one of your big threats around, but yeah, not as good here. There could also be that Torch the Tower to protect it, so Gray will have to have that on her mind as well.
Yep. Keeping up the red source there. To do just that is Ray. Tapping 3 here now. What are we going for? No, that's changing which land we're using. Gray's going to go for Zer! Buddy! Bro!
Okay. Now, the one thing most of the time we've been saying, like, oh, Zer comes down, your Overlord connects, GG. But that's in matchups where the life total's relevant. Like, Ray can win when Gray is at 77, you know? So, Zer is not as important here. And there's only one leyline binding available as interaction here from Gray. So, this is a turn where you can easily start with Song of Totentons.
Yes.
And then those get to add some mana. Need some more to win, though.
Not finding land drops. Just going in, what's that, 3 damage?
3/3. It's a free attack, and it's a kind of a bluff attack, probably.
Yeah.
Because you really don't want to block with Zer. So I think that was a spot where if Gray blocked, Ray would just be like, all right, got me.
Yeah. 4 rats?
Yep, that would be for 4 rats. Now those rats can add mana. And if there was a leyline binding, it would have been cast there.
Yeah.
If I'm Ray, that's what I would be thinking, because like then those rats would be terrible. They can't block either. so now you at least have 4 mana. If you have Valley Floodcaller plus a 1 mana thing, you can still. I guess you can't win. You already attacked, but
yeah. Tap tap tap. So 4 mana. We're gonna
just bringing
level
back.
up that. Yeah.
Yep.
Go get. No mana now, though, to be able to use it. So this is a pretty good opportunity for Gray to do something meaningful.
Biggest turn of the tournament here for really both of these players. If Gray has a great thing to do, like a Sunfall or something like that, I would say advantage to Gray. Yeah, split up would be awesome
that would be
right now.
Keep your Zer, keep your Overlord.
Yeah. But if you get to untap with 5 mana with your creatures plus 4 lands, you got to think Ray is going to be feeling really good.
That Song of Totentons can come back next turn. Lush Portico going to take a look at the top of the library, stick another Zer into the bin.
Yep. And now we're only missing the Valley Floodcaller. And that clock is ever so ticking. That is the live clock for these 2 players. So at this point, Gray wants to not die, of course, but also would like to win.
Yes,
so.
100%. Everywhere token made again. As Overlord of the Hauntwoods gets in. For some more damage there.
And what is the follow-up? That looks like 4 mana. Is it just an Overlord?
Oh, yeah. I don't think that's going to be good enough.
No, that's not good. And, I mean, to be fair, Ray still needs to have Analyze Pollen, something like
to that effect, Nothing in the bin that'll help, so leveling up the Storm Chaser's talent isn't really something to do.
Yep.
There is the Valley Floodcaller that can go digging.
All right, here comes a bunch of mana. This looks like
Thunder Trap Trainer.
The Offspring Trainer.
Yep, so 2 enter, 2 looks at the top of the library.
Look at all those tokens you have to bring with this deck.
It's a non-creature, so we're looking for an Analyze the Pollen.
Yeah, it doesn't have enough to collect evidence, so that's not great.
And then the next.
But if there's land, Valley Floodcaller already in hand, then we're basically good to go. That was a Bushwhack, it looks like, or maybe a Pollen. And...
yeah, Bushwhack.
Okay. So whenever you don't have a land drop to make, your Bushwhack's always kind of free, so... that's why you almost see that played as a no thought type card, because it's like, well, I don't have a land drop. I don't have a land drop. I want to get one. So looks like we're passing with Ray with this town ain't big enough available.
This town ain't big enough being the Pull Patch Recruit gonna deal with the enchantment side of things.
11. Okay, this is 11 damage though. So if Gray is able to clear out the 3 blockers. This is just GG.
How do we do that, though?
It would just be 3 spot removal. Yeah, there's no easy way to do it.
50 seconds left on the clock. There is the incubator, bro, too.
Yeah, that's only 7 with 1 blocker. So, yeah, it's going to be very tough for Gray to win the game this turn. But at this point, The clock is almost irrelevant because
Yeah.
both of these players can close out the game within a couple of turns. It's
Sure.
just which direction.
Yeah. So for those of you who have never seen a game go to time, what's going to happen in 30 seconds time is that we will start turns. Start at turn 0, and then there'll be 5 turns after that. So the active player's turn 0, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 will bounce back and forth between the players. If they can't win before that, then it would be a draw, unless somebody concedes.
Exactly. And yeah, they're both at such a spot where a draw is still valuable to both of them. So
Yeah.
we won't really be seeing a concede. And now the players can slow down.
Yeah.
So it was passed. So now it will be up to the judge if that was passed with time. You know, our clock could be slightly
It could be off a little bit.
behind or whatever. So we'll see. We'll get confirmation from our judge to see if we are now in turns.
Yep, there we go.
Okay, there it is.
Time and round, turn. Thank you, judges.
So this would be turn 0 for Ray. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. So Ray will have a couple turns to win, but could easily be this turn.
Yep.
All right. Okay, this town ain't big enough.
All
Plus
right.
and analyze the pollen.
Okay.
That was excellent because you have 5 mana value that can go to the graveyard now with this town ain't big enough. And
Yeah.
then you can analyze pollen. So if Gray doesn't have any interaction, Ray wins.
Okay. I don't even need your 5 stinking turns. But let's see. Where do we go here?
So this is bouncing 2 talents, and you always want to bounce the talent that's already been leveled.
Yes.
When you have 3, it kind of just doesn't matter. But so now you can analyze pollen, get rid of those cards, find Valley Flood Pit
Flood caller.
or Flood Caller. I'll get that card right eventually.
It's all good.
And
The other otter.
exactly. So now you go get your Flood Caller, play their Flood Caller with 3 or 4 mana available. Plus, then you have just so many spells to do it.
Yeah.
I don't even think one piece of interaction is enough. I think Gray would need multiples. So this looks like the Otter Master, Ray Zhang, advancing to for sure a win in next round.
Oh, yeah.
Or we'll
Already
be able to
locking
shake
it in.
hands and advance to the top 8.
We're not 100% sure of the numbers. I'm pretty sure we'll get some confirmation shortly from our judging staff. What the cutoff is, what the necessity or the necessary number of wins is, but
Yeah.
Valley Flood Caller is on the board. And now we're going to start tapping some otters for some mana. We're going to start doing all the things that this deck wants to do.
Yep. So here is the 3 mana. You don't untap the Enduring Vitality. That is not one of the creature type that matters.
Yep, no.
So down to 2 mana. Once these creatures untap, game over. So if Gray allows that to happen, so this is the one spot where it has to happen,
Yep.
but it just doesn't matter because there's the get lost. 2 mana floating. This town ain't big enough. You can just bounce it.
Yep.
And if you play this town ain't big enough on the stack, you get to untap the otters and rats. So with the get lost on the stack, you can return the Valley Flood Caller, cast it, and then still be comboing off here. So
So another piece of interaction necessary right now.
necessary,
otherwise,
yep.
all done.
Because there is only 1 mana available, so you would need a 1 mana spell, which here it is. So it doesn't even matter. A second piece of interaction doesn't do it. There's
Okay.
nothing Gray can have. Because there's already 1 mana floating,
Yeah.
the Elk can then play This Town Ain't Big Enough, and now we have this much mana available, so.
Jeez.
Welcome to Otters, y'all.
Yowza.
And remember, every time they're untapping, they're getting bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's from the Valley Flood Caller, right? Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
+1/+1 to birds, frogs, otters, and rats.
Yep.
So all the borfs get +1/+1.
Yeah, Team Sanctum really went in the lab for the World Championship to build this deck. And, believe it or not, made our job a little tougher as we saw this deck list and we're all like, none of us
What
on the
is
coverage
going
team
on?
knew what was going on. So we're like, it's time to learn this deck.
I remember getting, I think it was from Jared, actually. Jared
Yeah,
Silva.
yep.
Just this massive wall of text in the Discord, like breaking down this deck, and we're just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, luckily it was Jason, I believe Jason Yee unprompted sent us all how this deck works.
Yeah.
It was just like, yeah, I absolutely know you're all going to struggle with this. I got you. So big shout out to Jason Yee. We needed that.
We sure ain't smart enough to figure that out.
Oh, this
so.
is so big brain. The deck's been out now for, 4
That's it.
months, and I'm still learning new things about
Whoa, that was one hell of a matchup between Ray Zhang and
Yeah.
Gray Payne. Ray improving their record to 12-2, and we're thinking pretty much a lock for top 8 at this point.
Look, I won't.
I'm not going to say anything definitively. All right.
I don't want to say a lock. I think the one thing that we can say is a lock is X and 2 going into the top 8. But with Ray losing round 1, they're going to have maybe not the best breakers. So if anyone might have to play next round, it might be them. But, you know, needless to say, I am very much going for Ray Zhang to win the whole tournament. I love that deck. I love Ray Zhang, and that was really fun to watch.
Well, best of luck to all our players. We got more Magic for you. We're going to take a very short break, so don't go anywhere.